So we'll deal with the first question first. It's quite nice and easy. So it says here, calculate the budgeted profit for August 2016. Literally, if you read here, this standard cost card here just tells you what the price is budgeted. Yeah, a budgeted price, which is this, yeah, per unit. Okay, so this is all per unit. This is how much per unit it costs you to make this one product, yeah? So your budgeted profit per unit is 25.5, okay? So your budgeted profit, it says here, during August 2016, when budgeted sales and production were 1,000 units, the following actual results were achieved. So when budgeted sales and production were 1,000 units, your budgeted profit must be 25.5 times by 1,000. Okay. Which equals 1,000 times 25.5. Okay. Just move it up there. Why not? Okay. So question 2. So now, question 2, what it wants you to do is it wants you to create a operating variance statement. Yeah. Recognizing all the appropriate variances, okay? As we're not, you'll have to do this on an absorption cost basis because that's what it's doing. It's doing it by hours, so it's being absorbed by hours. Otherwise, you would just be given a fixed overhead amount. Okay. So you assume that it's done by absorption costing, and it's like produce an operating variance statement. So an operating variance statement looks like this. Okay. Oh. And you will use, because it's absorption costing, you'll use the overhead capacity and the overhead efficiency variance, okay, as well. So what we do is we start off with here you see the budgeted profit here. So you start off budgeted profit. Okay. And we'll just push equals here. Okay. And you've got your sales volume profit variance. So you start with that, sales volume profit variance. So your sales volume profit variance, how that's worked out, yeah, is simply what your sales volume profit variance is saying. It just wants you to figure out, yeah, the difference between how much you thought you would sell, yeah, versus how much you actually sold. Yeah. Okay, that's the key thing with this variance. And what that is, what you do then for your sales volume profit variance, you take how much you, and I'll just say whether it's favorable or not in here. So it's just usually fav means favorable, ad means adverse. So your sales volume profit variance here is the difference between what you thought you would sell versus what you actually sold. So you would go, how much are we? So we sold 1,050, yeah, and you wanted to sell 1,000, okay? So as you thought you would sell 1,050, but you actually sold 1,000, you've made your variance should be favorable. So we already know that it's favorable here because it's nothing, it's nothing to do with money or anything like this. In this case, with the sales volume profit variance, your sales volume profit variance is simply just asking you, did you sell more units than you thought you would? Yes, you did. You sold 50 more because you did 1,000. Yeah. So what you do is you do 1,050, which is what you sold versus what you actually didn't. So you sold 1,050, you thought you would sell 1,000. So we've got a positive variance there, okay? It's not a positive variance. You have to monetize everything with variances. Everything with variances has to be monetized. So what you need to do is you now need to times this by what they call the standard, your standard profit or your standard sale, your standard selling price. What they mean by the standard selling price here is just what your budgeted selling price is. You can't times this amount by your actual selling price because that doesn't make sense here. You only use your actual selling price when you're comparing it to what you budgeted. Okay? You use your actual selling price. Then the reason why we're using our standard price here is because we're just comparing. We want to compare what we thought we'd sell versus what we actually sold. If we use our actual selling price, that's not related to our budget because that's actually what we achieved in the marketplace. What we're interested with in regards to our budget here, we're interested in how much we actually thought we would sell versus how much we actually sold. We thought we would sell 1,000, we sold 1,050. We've got a positive variance of 50 units. We don't times that by our actual selling price, we times that by our budgeted selling price because we're comparing the budget to the actual selling price. If we were to use the actual selling price, then we distort the figure essentially. Okay, so that's 50, that's in units at the moment. We need to monetize that. So